We know back in the early hours of Australia Day, of course, vandals attacked the statue of Captain James Cook in the Catani Gardens in St Kilda. This is in Melbourne, sawing it off at the ankles. And mind you, it's a bronze statue, so there would have been an angle grinder or something used, and there was spray painting there that the colony will fall on the plinth. Now, suggestions that the statue would be removed altogether met a very fiery pushback at a council meeting last night. Have a listen.
I felt it was really important that we start to have those conversations, honest conversations about our history, and that we reflect upon the difficult parts and the not so difficult parts and find a way to move forward together. I think when we respond to acts of vandalism like this by simply shutting down the conversation.
I have already given you warning. I will have to stop the meeting to have a security guard to come in. I'm adjourning the meeting for a moment to deal with the disruption in the gallery.
Joining me now is someone who did a hell of a lot of good work last night, but in recent weeks, to put that statue back. Yes, he had a win. Port Phillip councillor Marcus Pearl. Marcus, thank you for your time yet again. Take us through what happened last night.
We had a notice of motion brought to the council last night by one of the councillors you saw on the screen there to, I think, run a veiled campaign to stop the statue from being reinstated. The initial motion called for consultation, community consultation, but really that councillor was in the public domain all week saying that his firm view was that the statue should not be replaced. Now, this caused a large outcry from our community. Not one person from the public that came to the Port Phillip Council meeting last night disagreed with the statue being reinstated, and the councillors saw sense last night, and thankfully Port Phillip sent a very clear message that we won't be intimidated by those that want to bully us, and we won't kowtow to people that want to vandalise public property.
When's your next council election?
The Victorian local government elections are this November.
All right. Name that councillor that tried to backdoor the permanent removal of that statue, please.
So it's a Labor councillor, Councillor Robbie Nwagi, who put the notice of motion up last night. It was changed at the last minute. There wasn't much notice given to the community or councillors of this notice of motion arising. The first I heard of it was late on last Friday night. We had a spirited debate last night, that's true, and as you saw, one of the members of the gallery was evicted from the gallery, which is the first time in my almost 8 years on council that's happened. So it was a spirited debate. It was largely respectful, but common sense prevailed, and a clear order was provided to our council officers that our community and the council wants this statue reinstated as soon as possible.
Yes, my audience has a long memory, so I hope they hold their fire until November. We'll see what happens. When we spoke just after this act of violence, we talked about the police investigation, looking at CCTV. Are we actually going to hold someone responsible here? What can you tell us?
Well, and it begs to the point that this is why it's so important that we treat these incidences very seriously. They're acts of intimidation and they're calculated acts of vandalism. And if we just walk past these instances and let these people go, things could get out of hand and get a lot worse. And that's really at the core of why this statue needs to be returned. We've handed over a substantial amount, the council that is, has handed over a substantial amount of CCTV footage to the police, and they're continuing their investigation. But looking on social media, some of these people have a very perverse intent, and they're quite nasty and dangerous people in my view.
Just quickly, Councillor, when will we see the statue back, and are you going to protect it better next time round?
We're going through the process at the moment of making sure that we can get the statue reinstated as soon as possible. It's a heritage listed statue, so we're working with the state government. And again, I just want to thank the Premier for her support, the Labor Premier, and her support of making sure this statue gets put back up. Our officers now have a clear mandate from Council that we want the statue reinstated, and I'd hope that over the coming weeks we'd have a clear timeline and cost about how that's going to take place as soon as possible.